Hey guys, this is Melissa with Love Covered Life, and after much debate, I have decided to make a video addressing current events. And in this video, I would like to give you 4 tips on how to deal with the stress and anxiety of what's going on in the world, and 4 tips to hopefully inspire you through this experience. I debated, like I said, I really did not want to make this video. And the reason is because, and this goes for a lot of my videos, you guys, I'm not an expert. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a doctor. I am not a scholar. I don't have a degree. I don't really feel qualified to speak to such a huge issues like what's happening in the world today. I do feel that it would be irresponsible of me not to at least address this, because I have a lot of people reaching out to me scared and just needing someone to talk to, and people who are sick even reaching out and asking for prayer and just needing somebody to check in on them. And so I want to be here for you guys in that way. Before I get into my video, there's just 2 quick things I want to mention. First of all, a lot of you are concerned about me and my family and asking how we are doing. We are fine, you guys. We aren't under quarantine here, but pretty much everything is shut down, and I'm a homeschooling mom, so I'm used to being home with my kids all day anyway. Second thing is that my kids and I do healing prayer every night right around 7:30 Mountain Standard Time, and that's just because that's the time I'm getting them ready for bed. But we do that pretty much every night, and I just want to invite all of you guys to join us. If you can do it at that time, that would be great. If we could get like a bunch of people together praying at the same time. But even if you can't, time doesn't matter. So praying for the sickness in the world and the financial stress that is on people and the economy and all of that, and basically for the healing of the world and for us as humanity to come together in love and grow through this situation. First of all, 4 tips on how to deal with stress and anxiety. And guys, I just have to qualify again that I am not an expert at this. I started out my life with tons and tons and tons of emotional baggage, okay, that I dragged with me for years, and I have been able to overcome a lot of that through spiritual growth and developing my inner connection with God and my inner peace. But I do still deal with anxiety. My first tip is gratitude. Number 1 antidote to stress and anxiety is gratitude, and I will preach this all day long. What we choose to focus on is what's called our perception of life, and our perception of life is our internal experience of life. So 2 people can go through the exact same life circumstances, but they can focus on different things, they can see it differently, and they will feel differently about it because they experience it differently. When you choose to focus on the things in your life that make you happy, bring you joy, make you feel loved, make you feel peace, the things in your life that you are passionate about and excited about, then those things will fill your perception, and that will be your experience, and you will feel happy and peaceful and inspired. And that you can do this even in an extremely stressful situation, especially if you have a practice of gratitude going daily where you're training your mind to work this way. So during really stressful times, I would recommend having a morning and evening practice of gratitude where you sit down and you intentionally think of at least 3 things to be thankful for, and you think about them until they just fill you up and you feel it on such a deep level, and then you carry that with you. And do this as often as you need to. If you have severe anxiety, if you're dealing with severe stress, you may need to do this every 30 minutes. You may not be able to sit down and close your eyes every time, but look for something in your immediate situation to be thankful for and focus all of your attention on that thing, and notice how it instantly lifts your mood and changes your entire perception. For myself, a couple days ago, I had a day where I was just very overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed with things that were going on in the world. My husband is not feeling well. My house was a complete disaster. So I took a moment where I went in my boys' bedroom. The light was off. It was the only place I could get alone, and I laid down on the floor and I cried and I just told God, okay, I need help. I need help. I'm not handling this well, and I have all the mental knowledge. I should be doing better than this. And instantly I was directed, think of 3 things that you can be grateful for right now. And so I did that. And the 3 things that I came up with were, I am thankful for my house. It's a complete disaster right now, but it's such a privilege to have a home to be able to take care of. I'm thankful for my family. I have a husband and 3 beautiful kids to invest my energy into taking care of. And I'm thankful for my bookshelf full of books, some of which I just ordered, and it's perfect timing because now I have this extra time to read and study. And just thinking about those 3 things, my entire perspective just flipped. And I'm not kidding or exaggerating. My stress just went away because I was focusing on what I could handle, 3 things that could make me happy, and how I could flip my stressful experience of life into a positive for me. Now, that's a simple example. I know people in the world are experiencing much harder things. This is just an example of how you can do this, and it can work for minor situations or even harder and more stressful situations. My second tip is meditation, and meditation is frowned on by the Christian community, but it is so powerful. It's training your ability to concentrate, to direct and focus your own thoughts. And the goal is to quiet your mind and find that place of inner peace and stillness within, and get good enough at doing that that you can access that space even when things around you are chaotic and stressful. And this is what Jesus taught. Jesus' message was about the inner stillness and peace and contentment that comes with connecting with the Spirit of God within your heart, which is that place of peace and presence within. Meditation is another thing that's good to do at least once or twice a day, even if it's for a short time. And if you don't have a morning routine or an evening routine in your life where you implement things like this for your mental and emotional health, now would be a prime opportunity to do that. Even if you have like 15 minutes in the morning, you can do 5 minutes of thinking about things that you're thankful for and just really getting into it and soaking up those feelings of thankfulness. And then 10 minutes of a quick meditation that helps you quiet and focus your mind and find that place of inner peace. And then you create this sacred space of peace and contentment and joy and gratitude for yourself. And the more you do it, the more you'll be able to find it at a moment's notice in the middle of the day when you need it. Number 3 is choosing what to fill your mind with. And this is really applicable to us right now because it's really tempting to just constantly be reading news articles and constantly be checking for updates on what's going on. And the fact is that that's not necessary, and it's not good for your mental health either. It's wise to be informed, to know what's going on, but that probably takes like 10 minutes out of your day, and then the rest of the time that you're not busy working or interacting with your family, you can be spending by putting positive and inspiring messages into your mind. And I think it's more important now than ever to do that. You can read books, you can listen to podcasts, you can listen to music, you can find teachers that speak to various aspects in your life where you need support or you need growth, and constantly just be filling your mind with those messages that will lead you to develop mentally and emotionally into a stronger and healthier person, and give you the resilience that you need to get through difficult times. What you fill your mind with is huge. It affects who you are, how you think, how you feel, and how you create and interact with the world around you. Number 4 is focusing on what you can control. There are a lot of things in the world that we cannot control, and it's very easy to become overwhelmed thinking about problems on a massive scale that we can't directly influence. But when you focus instead on what you can control and how powerful it actually is, because we are all very powerful, energetic, creative beings, but what we have to do is focus on what we can do and then trust that that will make a difference. And this is going to look different for everybody. So for somebody who's working in the healthcare field, or somebody like my husband who's an internet technician right now, there's a lot of demand on people like that, and it's going to look different for them. But for somebody like me, the things that I can control would be things like creating a peaceful atmosphere in my home, supporting my husband as much as possible because he's under a lot of stress, enjoying the extra time that I have with my kids, making the most of it, using this opportunity to teach them and help them to grow and mature in their understanding, filling their time with activities that will be positive and beneficial for them, checking in on my elderly friends and neighbors or people who are more at risk, offering to run errands for them so that they don't have to go out, checking in with other moms who are at home with their kids home from school, offering any inspiration or support that I can, just being there for people who need a listening ear, looking out for my neighbors, making sure that people have the food and supplies that they need, even offering childcare to parents who do still have to work but their kids are home from school when my schedule allows it, and focusing on those things and realizing that those things are powerful. It helps me or you then to feel like you have back power over the situation, and that what you can do and what you can contribute is important. So those are my 4 tips for handling stress and anxiety. And now I want to offer 4 tips to hopefully encourage and inspire you through this situation. The first one is to keep a mindset of abundance and wholeness within yourself, regardless of what things may look like in the world or what you may be experiencing in your physical reality. And I know this might sound a little new agey to some of you, but I truly believe that this is what Jesus taught. He talked about not worrying about the material world and what we're going to eat or drink or what we're going to wear, knowing that our Heavenly Father will provide whatever we need. He also demonstrated in his miracles that food can be multiplied to feed thousands. And although most of us are not at a point in our development yet where we can perform something like this, although he did say that we would perform greater works than he did, it's understanding the principle that will get us there. So, man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes out of the mouth of God. Physical matter is an illusion. When scientists have gone in to look at what makes up an atom, what makes up electrons and protons, what they have found is that there's nothing there. It is all light energy, and potential light energy if we want to get specific. Physical matter is made up of light energy that is so densely packed that it looks and feels solid to us, but it's an illusion. And the entire world is made up of this light energy. So the entire universe is this substance that is light or consciousness, as science describes it, or I believe spirit is the religious word that we would use, but we're all talking about the same thing. So the food that we are eating is made up of this. We are made up of this. Everything is made up of this. We are the energy, the light, the breath of God, and I'm going to be getting into this more. If this doesn't make sense, I'll be explaining this a little more in a future video. But we're all of the same substance. We're all of the same source. Science has proved this now. Everything has come from one source, and it is a source of energy and consciousness or light. We all are the breath of God. And so the food, the physical food that we eat, comes from the same source as everything else. And that's what Jesus is trying to help us to understand in his teachings and his parables is there is no such thing as lack. There is no such thing as scarcity. There is only abundance. There is only the light and love of God everywhere. We can create the illusion of lack in this world around us through living from a place of fear, but there is only God. There is only light. The fear is what creates that illusion of lack, that there's not enough for everybody to go around, and leads to the selfishness and the division and the defensiveness and even the violence that we end up seeing when people fight over the last roll of toilet paper and stuff like this. So we have to come from a place of abundance, a place of knowing that everything is available, that God is love and God is everywhere, and Our provision can come through any source when we are open to that, and there really is nothing to fear. I'm not saying don't provide for your family. Trust me, I have 3 kids and we're responsible to feed them, but it's more the mindset behind how you do what you do. So not doing anything out of fear or out of a belief that there isn't enough or at the expense of another human being. Doing everything out of a loving abundance and desire for the best interest of all. Everything that we have is meant to be shared because there is always more where that came from, because it all came from God. I love the way that Tony Robbins puts it. This is one of my favorite quotes from him. Just do more, give more, share more, create more, and what you need will be there. It's like air. You don't stop to think when you take a breath whether the air is going to be there or not. It's always going to be there, and that's how the universe works. Inspiring tip number 2 is to remember that the primary way that we create in the world is through our state of being. So what we are creating around us. And this all goes back to science again, where quantum physics has shown us that the entire universe is one giant energy field which originates from one source of energy, and that we are all intricately part of and connected to this energy. We are this energy. So if we want to create joy in the world, then we have to first be joy. And that state of joy within us then travels outside of us to create an atmosphere of joy around us. And this is a real thing. They can measure this with instruments now. If we want to create peace in the world, people try to force peace through war and by overpowering the enemies and forcing them to submit to peace, and it's never going to come about in that way. Peace can only be created by peace. The way to have peace on earth is for each of us to have peace in our hearts, because then we are creating peace, which is creating an atmosphere of peace around us. And we are going around creating peace in the world for everybody that we come in contact with. And if we want to see abundance in the world, if you're standing there in the grocery shop and you see all of those empty shelves, the way to create abundance is through being abundant. So you create an atmosphere of abundance and wholeness that you carry within you and you carry around you, and then you manifest it because you're not afraid. You're not afraid that you're going to run out of what you need, and so you're able and willing to share with the people around you, knowing that if we all share with each other, that's how we are all going to be taken care of. Number 3, on a personal level, this is a great opportunity for spiritual growth, and I'm taking it this way for myself because I have goals for myself of where I want to go and who I want to become, and I'm taking all of this that's happening now as a catalyst for me to help me take steps towards those goals. For instance, I told you guys I still deal with anxiety, and the situation that's happening in the world has really brought that out in me and given me a perfect opportunity to work on it and to ask for guidance. How do I overcome this so that next time I'm stronger, and how can I ultimately heal this so that I'm not dealing with it in the future? For those of you who have a lot of extra time at home right now, I recommend using this as an opportunity to read and to learn and to grow and to work on yourself. And my last tip, and probably most importantly, is that this is an opportunity for all of us to grow in love, both individually and collectively. So we can choose the way of fear, which leads to selfishness, greed, lack, downward into our animalistic nature of looking out for number 1, or we can choose the way of love, which leads to compassion and care and oneness and abundance. Those are the only 2 paths. There is no other path. And this is a great opportunity for us to make the right choice. We've spent way too many thousands of years making the wrong choices, fighting each other, and looking out for ourselves at the expense of our neighbors. And this is the opportunity for us to rise above that and to make the choices that lead to love and healing. I was listening to an interview with Michael Osterholm. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce his last name, but he's a public health scientist and biosecurity and infectious disease expert, and he said if he had to give people any advice on how to handle this, he would say, just start taking care of each other. That sounds like a simple thing for what is a scientific challenge, but it is the answer. And he's exactly right. And there's a lot of people standing up and speaking out about this now and saying we need to come together and take care of each other. That's the only way we're going to get through this. And I'm really encouraged by that and hopeful that that is what we will do. One thing that's really helpful for myself personally when I'm going through any type of stressful situation is just to remind myself that there's only one thing that matters, and there's only one thing I have to do, no matter how scary or how complicated the situation might seem. The answer is love. Love is all there is. Love is all that matters. No matter what the question is, the answer is love. No matter what the situation is, the answer is love. It's very simple. It takes away the stress. It takes away the complications. And it helps give the power back so that we feel that we can actually make a difference. If we can do this, we can change the world and we can handle anything because God is love. You guys are going to get sick of hearing me say this because I'm going to say it over and over and over. God is love. And when we surrender to and express love, we surrender to and express God. And if we all can simply love the person next to us, then God will be expressed everywhere. And that is how we will handle the problems in the world. I just want to end with two of my favorite quotes from people who have really influenced me in my life. The first one is a quote from Tony Robbins, and how when he was at one of his seminars and 9/11 happened, he observed the way that people responded. I noticed something that day. Angry people got angry. Sad people got sad. Worried people worried. Loving people loved. Emotions are a habit, and if you're experiencing a lot of stress and anxiety right now, and I have, and all of us have, and that's human nature, and that's normal, but love is the answer. We got to develop a pattern of loving in our daily life, which will then allow us to respond with love naturally in a crisis situation. And the second quote that I want to share with you is from Joe Dispenza. How do you and I become supernatural? We have to begin to do what's unnatural. That is, to give in the midst of crisis when everyone else is feeling lack and poverty, to love when everyone is angry and judging others, to demonstrate courage and peace when everyone else is in fear, to show kindness when others are displaying hostility and aggression, to surrender to possibility when the rest of the world is aggressively pushing to be first, trying to control outcomes, and fiercely competing in an endless drive to get to the top, to knowingly smile in the face of adversity, and to cultivate the feeling of wholeness when we're diagnosed as sick. So now is the time to give. Now is the time to dig as deep as we have to within to find that place of inner peace. Now is the time to offer, to create, to give peace, to create joy. Now is the time to love. Don't forget to talk to me in the comments, guys. Feel free to message me to ask for prayer or just for a listening ear or whatever you need right now. Be loved, be happy, be at peace, and thank you for watching.